back in the greenhouse. It is the 10th of January. I've got quite a bit of stuff already started as far as plugs, but it is now time for us to start planting our seed trays. See, we got a whole bunch of succulents. I just got through cutting and taking a bunch of cuttings off of those to start new succulents with, and getting these trimmed back where they were so wild. Got a few odd and end stuff still hanging around, but I'm waiting on Holly to get back from town with a piece of foam board that we're going to use to go underneath of our heat mat for seed starting, and I'll show you how all this process works. But we're going to go ahead, or I'm going to go ahead while I'm waiting on her, and get started getting some trays filled up and seeding and covering and getting them ready, so when she gets back and we get the seed mat, the heat mat up and going, then we'll be ready to start putting trays on it. So let's get after it. Oh, as a side note, if you can't tell, there is some white stuff falling out of the sky right now. So, good day to be in the greenhouse working. I have got some brand spickety new 392 sale seed trays. Pretty excited about that. I hadn't had any brand new ones in years. It's nice to work with some brand new stuff. I get these and I keep them and sterilize them and use them over and over for years. And I've still got a bunch of old ones, but a lot of them I'm gonna start chunking because they're old and getting in bad shape. And I got a box of 100 new ones. But I have got a list here on my laptop of everything that I need to plant, or everything I need to seed, the date that I need to seed it, and any details about whether to cover, whether not to cover, and its preferred soil temperature for germination, and the number of weeks that it takes to make a finished plug till it's ready to transplant. Goal for the seeding date, transplant date goal, and everything that we grow is in this spreadsheet here. So I've got quite a few things that I need to get going on. I've got my handy label maker here. This is what I use to print out all the stickers for these. So it's going to take me a while to work through this and get labels printed for everything, because all of our petunias need to be seeded, and some grasses I'm actually behind on, and quite a few other things. Got a lot coming up here in the near future, but there's quite a bit to be done now. Well, that took a little while to get through my entire list of all the different varieties and figure out the quantities and how they would fit in the trays, but I finally got everything all labeled up. This whole stack is petunias. If you're familiar with our operation, you know we do real heavy on the petunias. We do I think this year we're going to do somewhere around 800 hanging baskets of petunias, and then we'll do a little bit of other things too, but real heavy on those. And then this is stuff that needs to be started early. Actually, some of it I'm behind on, like these sun patience, but we'll just do the best we can. The coleus, we're late on it. It should have been planted at the end of December, but we're gonna jump on it and get going now. Holly got back with our foam. I'm gonna use this for just insulator to keep the cold air, or not cold. I've got the greenhouse set on 62, but to keep the air from taking the heat away from the trays, so that all the heat in the heat mat comes straight up into the soil. I got my Carolina Greenhouses propagation mix, tobacco soil is what they call it, but it's a really fine propagation mix. It's fantastic for seed starting. That's what I've been using for a long time. It don't have any junk in it. It is very, very clean, real fine soil, and it does a great job for starting seed. And then down here I've also got some coarse vermiculite. I've never used this before, but I see most people do, and so a lot of what I learn by watching. A lot of the plug trays I get in will have this sprinkled on top, and so done a bunch of reading in the Ball Red Book about it, and this is supposed to keep a consistent moisture level at where the seed's at for seeds that need to be covered. Now, not all seeds need to be covered. I have to check my little paper, but I think the petunias are one of them that don't get covered. They want to lay right on top. But I'm going to get some of these trays filled up, get our heat mat fixed up and ready. Probably put y'all on some fast motion here and see if we can't get some seeds in before it gets dark on us. I have always wanted but never had one of these legit heat mats like this. So this is Ken Bar. This is a controller. You have to have a thermostatic controller to go with these heat mats. The controller costs about as much as the heat mat itself, but I went ahead with the bigger controller. This controller will power 4 heat mats. It's got 4 outlets on it, and it's got enough amperage to run 4 of them. So as we grow, we will have what we need. So in here, so here is the heat mat in its nice little paper sleeve to protect it, and also the window screen. So these heat mats are basically, the way they work is it's kind of an electrical short, the whole thing. So if these things ever become damaged, I mean, you could have live 110 in a wet location. It could electrocute you. So this is for safety. You put this down, put your heat mat on top of it, and then that little green wire from the thermostat grounds to this screen. So if you ever have your heat mat short out, it'll go directly in the ground instead of killing you when you try to pick up a tray off of it. Just for gets and shiggles, I'm going to go ahead, and this is a plain new tray that doesn't have any label on it, but I'm going to put it down here, put my temperature probe in it, and get this thing turned on and try to go ahead and get it up to where it's heating the soil to the proper temperature, because it's going to take a while for the temperature to regulate, and I need to test it with a thermometer so that I can know for sure that we're heating to the right temp. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing plugged up and get it going here, because as you can see, it's kind of a guessing game. If we want to be 70, 72 degrees. I guess I'm gonna start right there. But I've actually got a thermometer like I would use on the Blackstone, and I've also got my infrared thermometer, so I can really get my soil temp dialed in, because that's pretty critical. If you ain't got enough heat, they're gonna be slower to germinate, probably still come up. You get them too hot, there's a good chance they won't come up at all. So we were trying to hit a pretty fine temperature line there. So I'm gonna get that going, get these filled up, and be ready to start dropping some seeds. Figure I better wrap this thing up before it gets too dark in here and y'all can't tell what the heck's going on. We're getting there, slowly but steadily slow. I got my trusty meat thermometers. I'm trying to get this soil temp thing dialed in just right. Hovering around 71. Well, we're dropping, but that's good because I just dropped the temperature on the thermostat a little bit. I'm shooting for precisely 70 degrees. So got it dialed in pretty dang close. In a unfortunate turn of events, found out that our vacuum seeder plate, the holes are too big for petunias. They won't fall completely through, but they would definitely get stuck. These are petunia seeds. Having a hard time focusing on them, but they are minute, smaller than broccoli, and these are pelleted, so they're bigger than they would actually be if they were not pelleted. I was under the impression when I bought these pelleted seed that they would be much larger than that with the pellets on them, but unfortunately not. So me and Holly are having to seed all these petunias by hand, one at a time, just like you see her doing here. And it is some tedious work because these seeds are pretty spendy. Some of the wave petunias, if I remember correctly, are pushing 20 cents a seed. So you really don't want to double up or lose any. You want to get precisely one seed in each cell and the correct number, because they are so expensive. But we've got some stuff that gets covered in vermiculite, some stuff that does not. I might have to wrap this thing up because I'm running out of daylight and I need to be working instead of talking. But I'm going to show you one more thing here. Just got an order in from Nolt's Greenhouse Supplies. That's where the heat mat came from. But another thing that I got from those guys is this little jewel right here, and it's not put together yet. But this is a Wonder Waterer, both pieces of it. But these things right here are awesome. Had one last year and I didn't hide it well enough apparently, because it got used for washing cars and all kinds of ridiculousness, and got torn up. But this is, they're not cheap, but this right here is cat's meow for watering your seed trays, because it makes, it's not a mist, it's heavier than a mist. You can mist seed trays, but it takes eons to ever get them wet enough to make a difference. This will put a large volume of water on them without splashing seeds around. You can water tiny little tomato seeds or whatever with this Wonder Water, and it doesn't displace them or beat them out of the cells. Most of your waters, when you turn them down to a certain point, it kind of turns into a stream instead of just getting more gentle. This is not that way. It's just a gentle, very full, like rain from off all the way to wide open. So just a little tip there on that. But we're going to try to get some more of these petunias knocked out before we run slap out of daylight here, and try to get home safely and slowly, because the conditions have not improved outside. We're actually just snowing again. So I appreciate y'all watching. Now that we're busy here in the greenhouse, I'm gonna try to start cranking out a lot more videos on a very regular basis, and I appreciate y'all watching. I'll see you next time.